Hello again from Hello again from nowhere, high atop the mountain of the mystic. It's time, guys. It's time that I put my money where my mouth is. Time to do or die. So what am I talking about? Let me tell you. I 100% believe that the human condition, how we feel, how we behave, all of that is tied to influence. So what am I about to do here? I'm about to put my money where my mouth is. I'm about to high stakes gamble of the highest caliber, of the egoic variety, because this is all egoic in nature of what I'm doing. So, for the next 30 days, who knows, maybe I'll go even longer, I'm turning off the social media big head mouth people of this world. I'm turning off the YouTube videos about modern day problems of the world. I'm turning them off. I'm not going to listen to them. The most that I'm going to play through this smartphone is going to be music. Probably music without words. Probably instrumentals. Because I believe something. I believe that the world that people live in is not the earth, but the one that they make out of their conceptual understandings. They build a world around them out of concepts. And because I have the human elements just like you, in many ways we are exactly the same. I'm influenceable too. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn it all off. I'm not going to scroll through this mess. I'm not going to post in this mess. I'm going to get on here and I'm going to make live videos about this adventure I'm going on. 30 days. I'm going to turn the matrix off. I'm unplugging it. Because there is something a lot better than that all around me. I probably will have opinions, but they'll be of organic nature. Or what I remembered before I turned it off, so I may still talk a little about economics. And I might say some stuff that hasn't happened in the last 5 minutes, because that's how the news cycle works, right? If it hasn't happened 5 minutes ago, it doesn't matter. It vanishes from the consciousness. You know, I'm sick of hearing about the world is going to explode. The world is going to do nothing that it hasn't always done. Come to an end and be born. Last thing I was watching was a video, and it pulls you in so innocently, doesn't it? Something about the mind wants to know about something that's happening. And so you start listening to watching these people, and it just, you go with that and you think it's such an innocent video. Someone is going to say, well, this happened today. This means it's going to have this effect economically. It's going to have this and that effect. And, yeah, a better idea would have been this, but that's not what happens. It's like pornography for fear. You shouldn't be watching that either. But it is what it is. It's as enticing as pornography has been proven to be to people. And the best thing to do is not even go near it to begin with. So what we got to do is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to turn it all off. The last video I was watching, and this is part of what the mind does. It's trying to cling on to something. It's hearing me over here talk about how we're about change is coming to this container, and now it wants to talk about, but remember the last thing, remember that last thing, remember this last thing, talk about that. This is what attachment is. And just because you become aware of it doesn't mean it stops every time. You still have a battle to fight depending on the severity, depending on certain situations around you. It is all within you, but it's like this. If someone is hitting you with a baseball bat, no amount of this is fine is going to stop you from getting hurt. So when people say this is bigger than words and it's hard to talk about as a result, that's what they mean. Because one minute I say, well, everything is situational and circumstantial around you, and the next minute I'm talking about what if you're being hit with a baseball bat? Then it is circumstantial and situational of the external variety, right? So I guess it means in a normal situation. Well, then we open up another can of worms. What is normal? Let's define it. Let's do this. Well, how about not? We know what normal means. It means the state of nothing really happening perceivably. Like, I'm in the middle of the woods, I'm sitting on the porch. At any moment, a pack of coyotes could, in theory, come out of these woods and eat me on this porch. But that's not part of the normal situation. Normal situation is the default, which is right here. This is the reference point, me sitting on the porch making this video, and no coyotes come out of the woods for that situation. Yeah, so you get the idea. So the point that I'm going to make here, the last video, let's let the mind get its chattering over with. Last video I was watching on the YouTube, they were talking about how Donald Trump there exported all of the people who are apparently not supposed to be here, right? Or better, you know what people so fondly refer to those people as illegal people. So, talking about how farmers no longer have no help anymore because overnight the ICE people, the deportation police came and got them, came and rounded them all up and took them on down the line. You know, and I just thought, well, the way you solve that is when all those people who now have farm experience have gone back to their own countries, that's when the countries need to organize it and start farming and exporting their product to America. And there won't be a shortage, and those people can make a lot of money. Now, does that equal a competitor in the economic stage? Yes. Is that like it's like I'm up here, I'm by definition an American, and at least for this example. All right, so we deport them, and I'm over here saying, all right, yeah, go farm your own farms, go do that, and then export the product up here. And, that would still hurt American businesses. But, American businesses hurt American workers nonstop all the time. Let's go back a little in time here to the beginning of this issue. It used to be people were working those jobs in America. People were working those jobs in America. Well, a few people got greedy and they said, well, we can get the labor for a quarter of that if we can just get them up here. And they broke rules because they could have got it for a quarter if they got those people's citizenship first and did it right, because there's laws and protections, right? So instead, those people, if you're going to deport those people, that's fine. I understand. But can you deport the ones that caused the problem too with them? Because the only reason that problem exists is because they said, I'm going to get cheap, next to nothing labor. And thus Americans became accustomed, and in a lot of ways they were conditioned by the media to think that honest, physical type work was not good enough for them. And the only you don't want to end up in them fields working hard. Some people might have liked working hard naturally. Did you think of that? No, you didn't, because the people saying it were on their team the whole time, right? They said we need to get the businessmen making them millions. We need to help these people, and also a worker paid for it. Because you had a system where you had American workers at one point, and they were working, and despite the fact that they were getting, still getting shafted on the pay end, that still wasn't cheap enough for you. This is a fact. And it's not just business I'm pointing fingers at, but it's everybody, because everybody, at least American-wise, want to know, I want it for next to nothing. I want it cheap. I want it for free. That's pretty much the normal state of an American. Well, there's a whole reason that things are the way they are, at least concerning this, I'm sorry the farmers don't have any labor now, but y'all should have never have been tempted by greed. Greed is the reason that you don't have help now. You sowed something, and now you reap it. You say, I need cheaper workers, I need cheaper workers, I need cheaper workers, and now they're gone. And now, it's been decades since you've been doing that. Now Americans are going to have to be retaught that something about hard work, right? They got to be manipulated into believing something else now. How wonderful this is. At some point, it has to be questioned. Why does it seem like a place like America is only being run for billionaires? Why is that? People are born in this country, and, they don't really have a choice to be born. That's fine. So, it doesn't seem like they ever really get a real choice in it. You got people convincing people who will never have 1/10 the amount of money as a Jeff Bezos, convincing them that we got to keep the tax breaks for the Jeff Bezos because, God forbid, a billionaire has to pay anything. What kind of sense does that make? It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. Meanwhile, everyone who works for a living while we've got jobs to go to, we got to pay hundreds of dollars every 2 weeks in a time, or a week, every week, whenever your pay schedule is. They got to pay hundreds of dollars every paycheck in taxes, and they're not getting nothing for their taxes. It doesn't benefit you. I'm driving through the state of Alabama, and half the state is pitch black at night because they will not fix the lights. Taxes come out my check every 2 weeks, just like yours. Hundreds of dollars worth of taxes, and I don't get nothing. This is when people say government should be run like a business. Well, I get a choice if I go to that business, and that means if I don't go to that business, I ain't got to give them no money. I don't get that choice with government. So don't start that government. It's got to be run like a business, because that's not even a possible situation. You got multiple forms of government or something all of a sudden that will compete for me as a citizen. What kind of sense do you make? Government is only good for one thing, and regardless of how we want to word it, it comes down to this: how good are they at ruling people? That's what a government is really about: population control and population management. And sometimes you get good leaders who understand that, and they help the society to flourish and to prosper, and people become happier and better off. And other times you get really bad ones who set the entire thing on fire, and everyone's fighting against each other. And other times you get just the clueless people. Just clueless people who don't even know that, or they're there to enrich themselves in some way. So, I hate it. I hate it that the farmers ain't got no help. I hate it. And it's going to be hard as a result on everyone else when you go to the grocery store. What's the solution at this point? Well, what do you want is the question. I can't answer something I haven't been asked. I can imagine up a hypothetical situation, but that doesn't help a real situation at all. If you're asking, what is the intended goal in all of this? Is my question. What are we trying to accomplish? And then I can answer a question. If you're just blindly going along going, we want people out of our country. Great. But why? Can we have a reason why before we act? Can we have a reason why before people are doing things? Do we have to go around at the beck and call of our desires and our wants? Do we have to do that? Guys, look around you. America is not the America you remember when you started asking that. The situation has changed. You might find you need something else now. I mean, if you want to go do farm work all day, that's cool. Go do it. You know? If you want to go do all that, go do it. If you know, just understand why you're doing things. Have intent to things. Don't just walk around doing them. Like, I remember when I was a kid, I'm about 35 now. I think I'll be 36 next year. I don't know. My wife keeps up with it. It's just a number, guys. That chicken down there. Chicken, nobody's home. Don't knock on that. When I was a kid, I remember the episode of Park South. All right, y'all know the one that they're taking our jobs. They're taking our jobs. Y'all know that one. And at the time that was the issue, but it drug on for so long. It's now been a couple decades since that. The situation changed. You know, jobs are vanishing. I'm not saying, jobs are vanishing because we got the advent of artificial intelligence and we got the advent of machines. So if people were actually paying attention, they would have stopped yelling about that problem and started yelling about this problem and saying, the machines are taking my job. The computer's got my job. And I mean, that computer and that AI, there's not too much that it can't do. I mean, you can turn a society into dependent on technology like that, and the computer can supply and perform all the needs. Even if the computer doesn't kill all the jobs, I imagine the ones that would be left were like minimum wage type jobs that can't enable you to have a family, can't enable you to buy a house, can't enable you to do any of that. You're going to sit there and flip hamburgers while machines do all the important stuff, and you're going to be marginalized and ignored because society has changed, but the politician hasn't. And what I said, the politician, well, duh, they running the show. Even if you get to vote for them, they still running the show. Now we can get in it. We can go a little bit further and say, well, the politicians get paid bribes and they get paid a lot of money because of the business owners. So the business owners technically, or not the corporations, whatever you want to call them, they're technically the ones running the place. And you're right about that too. But on paper, it's really the politicians. Seems to be like this society has a problem with saying no. Right? No one really knows how to say no until it's on their nerves to the point all they can do is yell no. I just, America was a simple idea. You came over here, you wanted to be over here, you wanted to go settle a piece of land, have your little homestead, provide for your family, worship God, form a little community. It was such a simple and innocent idea. Now, how that came to be, that we're not here to talk about that. All right, We're just here to talk about this. All right? It's such a simple idea. And now here we are. Here we are. I mean, and I say like so people can have families and buy houses, but the reality is something else I'm watching and observing is people like, do you know how many children are born in single mother homes in this country? Do you know how many? The family has died. It's become a minority. The what we say when we talk about the family, usually the nuclear family, you got mom and dad, and you got kids. And they live together as a unit, and that's usually what people mean when they're family. They're not talking about the family unit that has been on Earth since the time it's been, which was generational housing, basically. You had the grandparents living, the great-grandparents, everybody lived as basically a clan. The nuclear family came in, and now where is it all going? Where is it all leading to? All we can do is speculate. How could this serve anybody to disrupt people to this degree where they're barely functional and they run purely off of survival energy? What does this benefit? I try my best not to make assumptions and speculate unless they're really interesting and they don't really have a meaning to them. Like, if we wanted to talk about the nature of where did that pine tree come from, and we wanted to talk in terms of folklore and spiritual things you can't actually prove with scientific instruments, or things you can't actually prove timeline wise. I love doing that. I'm not going to sit here. Where is this going? Who does it benefit for everyone to be helpless and dysfunctional? What is why? Why is it? Why? Who's got the vested interest in a society that's like this? It's gonna get rough, guys. It's gonna get rough. Store up your treasures in heaven, because you ain't gonna have them on earth, but you'll have them in heaven. You know. I wish I had all the answers. I'd be a lot less curious then. Curiosity drives me. And it's the nature of it. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to get off of this crap for 30 days. And maybe if I really like it, longer. And you know why? Because I'm going to prove to the entire world that if you turn this stupid screen off, the world will not end. But you know what will happen? They'll forget about you across the internet. And you know what? I'll tell you what I really believe. I believe that most of the internet, the people you're commenting with on social media and everything, unless you know them directly, they're probably bots. Like, the internet is an empty place. They got bots which are a lot like artificial intelligence talking to people, and people don't know that they're talking to a machine and not another person. And I noticed this phenomenon when I noticed people were using different people all over the place were using the same kinds of arguments, and they were saying the same kinds of things in such a way that it was almost like they were all repeating the same exact thing. And these were lots of people I've come across over the last couple years that were doing this. And I was just like, maybe some of them made another profile, but I was like, how much time do you have on your hands where you can just screw around on the internet like that? Why would you do something like that? And so, the internet is like a circus. You go there to be entertained, but it's such a good circus sometimes that it pulls you in. And best way I can think is to combat it, just don't touch it. The internet had the internet is a powerful tool, but it should have never have found its way in the palm of people's hands. in this form, people shouldn't have been able to access the internet. I hate it, but you know, something's gonna have to change, or people are gonna just. Internet's a powerful tool. It can do great. It can help you fix your car. It can help you fix your dinner. It can help you. It can help you do anything you need to do because there's infinite amounts of energy, information on this planet. But the truth is, it should never have found its way in the palm of people's hands or inside people's homes. Because this thing, I believe that I heard it one time said computers and the internet were originally made to be weapons. And if you look at what it's doing to society, to people, it is a damn weapon. It's a weapon. And it's being used. And people are like shocking themselves. It's like what happens when you're confused about the things in your mind not being real, but you get the emotional responses and you're sitting there getting the reactions to it as if it was real. It's like the mind starts cutting you. And you know, same way with the internet. It's like I remember a time when people were just like, you know, they were doing people stuff, and then the internet came, and now the shopping malls are empty. The restaurants are empty a lot. There's still cars driving up and down the road, even more so than now. I don't fully understand that. How many gig workers I've encountered at some of these places. I'd be in a room, won't nobody be a customer themselves. They'll be there picking up an order for a customer. And I just imagine, is that what's really driving up and down the highway now, gig workers? Is that why it's so crowded? It just... Sometimes I really, really, really hate technology, guys. I just really, really, really hate it. You know, I'm gonna tell you, I got started on the computer a lot younger than everyone else, and as a result, I can proficiently use the technology, and you need that in today's world. No matter how much I dislike technology and being addicted to it and using it, and whatever you want to say about it, you need it in the modern world. If you're gonna if you're gonna walk out there into the modern world, you need the technology. You need to understand how to use it. And I got started on computers a lot younger than most people. And my dad I don't know if he was fascinated by the thing or what drove him to love computers and electronics to the degree that he does. But I really hate those things. I really, really hate this stuff. And, you know, I have two main reasons that I can't, maybe three, but to me, when I think of it, two main reasons here why I can't just shoot the smartphone with my gun, why I can't execute it, because it's not the smartphone's fault to begin with. So I'm one of them people, I think like that. I know this thing's doesn't have feelings and emotions, and it wouldn't matter if I shot it or not, but to me it would. That makes it matter. There's something that makes me not get rid of it. For one, on my computer, I have a book I'm writing, and I have spent hours and hours and hours and hours writing this book. I mean, years. And I'm not done yet. And Another one is I like to do what I'm doing, making some videos and, write down some stuff. I'm just going off the cuff here. I'm really practicing to get better at it because I know I'm scatterbrained. I'll go around in circles and repeat things and I'll get distracted and go somewhere. And I'm working on it, practicing. And, I have things that I like to teach people about, tell people about, and the last one is definitely, so it was 3, and the last one's definitely how I make money at this moment. I'm not interested in going to a job, but I like to do work. I like to work. You look out there, no one's going to argue with me and tell me I don't work. And so I like to go do some work. I like to get out of the house and everything, and that's done on these smartphones. And I'm trying my best to come up with some strategy where I can not interact with this technology because I just don't like it. This stuff has never made me feel peaceful. It has never made me feel joyful. It has never blissed me out or made me happy. It's made me mad plenty of times, and it's annoyed. Things like that have annoyed me and bothered me and everything. And I'm at the point where I'm about to get something else because I like typing when I write because that's just like I said. I got started on computers early, and I learned I can write with the pen, obviously, but man, my hand hurts when I do that. But if I type, I can type very quickly, and I can think at the same rate, and I can write like that, and I like doing it like that. So I'm at the point right now. I'm making active plans to. Unless I'm going to work, lock this thing inside my car, this smartphone. And if somebody want to call me, I'll just have to see it when I get in the car and call them back. Nobody ever calls me. And that's, when I say that, it gives people the impression that I'm lonely. And I'm not. I'm going to tell you something, you see all those trees? You see all these scraggly little trees, and occasionally you got a big tree like that one. But most of them are suffocating each other. That tree right there looks lonely to the untrained eye. But that tree right there that grows in isolation, that grows apart from the suffocating noises of the crowds, it grows the best. It grows the straightest. It doesn't have any care in this world. It doesn't have to fight roots for nutrients. It doesn't have to learn how to talk to other trees to do something as simple as survive. And it can focus on the other stuff that's important in life. Just swaying back and forth with the motion. And, look at that chicken. The chicken's listening. I don't care what anyone says. Animals, just like we do, we just the same too. I don't care. And, I'm at the point where I'm about to lock the smartphone in my car unless I'm going to go make some money with it. And I'm about to take all my book that I've written off of my computer. And I'm about to get rid of the computer. And I probably have to get another device that strictly will let me just type and write on it with no connection to the internet or any other form of distraction. I just want a simple device that I can write with. That's all. I'm pretty much over the internet. Pretty much over it. We can't go backwards in time, but we can pick how we live through time. And if I want to live without all this technology, I want to live without all the technology. I want to live through this lifetime where I don't have to stare at a screen. That's what I'm going to do. And I encourage you to put your phone down too. I encourage you to turn all the loud mouths of this world off. If you have to hear something, go turn some music without words on. We can't forget who we are or where we've been. But that doesn't mean we can't go where we've never been before and be what we've never been before. And I really am saddened by, the fact that the world that we are strapped to and has strapped itself onto us like a parasitic tick has convinced us that something as natural as survival is this big thing that requires all of our energy every single day, or we can't do it, or we're not doing it right, or bad things will happen to us. If you can never get out of your baser needs, if you can never get out of the red energy, if you can never get out of the survival energy, you can never walk away from the world because you'll depend on it for your survival. You don't need to depend on that for your survival. They've made a whole system to keep you strapped to the game that they want to play. It's a game. It's not supposed to be this important or this deep. Good God Almighty, look out here. This stuff did it itself. Do you know what this has in common with your survival? That if this can happen automatically, there's some intelligence guiding it, but bear with me. If this can happen, essentially what we would consider and perceive to be automatically happening with no interference, because the default position is if humans aren't doing it, it's not intelligent at all, and if we don't do it, we can't do it. Let's just figure out how we can ignore what's doing it on its own, or justify it, or explain it away from disrupting how we see the world. Well, let me tell you this. Let me speak in those terms in that way. That's my native tongue because I was born in the same world you were, so let me speak in those terms we can all understand. If this can happen all on its own, and because you believe that you are the supreme intelligence of existence, you're not, but like I said, bear with me, and you believe that you're the supreme intelligence of this universe and this dimension and this existence, then you should be able to do this times 1 billion. Way better than this can do it. You can't, but bear with me again. I'm going to have to clean that feeder off. That damn hummingbird's not going to eat it with all them ants on it. Like eat the bugs hummingbird. Anyways, so if you're the supreme intelligence and this stuff just happened automatically and just is, and it didn't require any intelligence, and intelligence is better on a scale than because you're the intelligence supreme of this existence, then you should have no problem putting a seed in the ground, eating it, and existing. That's how easy survival is. They have tricked you. Survival doesn't have anything to do with the car you're driving. It doesn't have anything to do with the house you're living in outside of it keeps rain off of you, but it doesn't have anything to do with the luxurious elements of the house. Survival has to do with is the air clean, is the water clean, is the food clean. There you have it. Those 3 things enable you to live on this earth. Everything else is extra. If you go putting all them extras on you, they're like picking a mountain up. You're going to gain some muscle or you're going to get crushed. Which one is, is up to you, I guess. I just rather not pick the damn mountain up. But guys, that's pretty much all I got to say today. You know, I hope you break free. I hope we all learn how to put these damn phones down before we put them down one day and realize we're old and we're gonna die any day now. I hope that we put these phones down, and I hope we go back out there in this world, and I hope we reform those bonds with people like we used to. And the world won't be perfect by far, but it can be better, right? I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you find all the blessings of the world, and I hope you find all the curses right there with it. I hope everything goes your way. Have a great day.